that I went along and saw, and I hope it comes back. It's called Secrets by Tinny Pants Productions and 24 Carat Productions, just finished at the Butterfly Club. I mean, I thought this was terrific. And the question that it asks, just how good are you at keeping secrets? I mean, if you hear something juicy, do you immediately rush off to tell your partner or your best friend, or do you keep it to yourself? How good are you at secrets and keeping them, Dave?
Yeah, pretty good. If a friend tells me something and says don't repeat it, I don't repeat it. So, yeah, no, I'm pretty good at keeping secrets.
Well, here's my question. If they tell you not to tell anybody, do you tell your partner?
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I have exactly the same view as you. If somebody tells you something and asks you not to say it to anybody else, then you don't. But let's face it, secrets by their very nature are tantalising, and at times people feel good to share that with someone else, but that can, of course, backfire. The 5 actors in this play, Secrets, which was an original work created by Sancha Robinson and Nick Steen, have secrets tumbling out of their mouths at the rate of knots, and they simply cannot hold back in what is an action-packed hour of revelation and entertainment. And what they articulate is distressing, it's shameful, it's salacious, and it's also very funny. You never know what's going to come pouring from their mouths next, and that's part of the joy in this production. Usually it's just one of them on stage at a time, but not always. Certainly not at the start or the end when all 5 actors appear at once. Almost appears like a case of one-upmanship. Who can tell the most disturbing, the most bodacious, most hilarious story? A quick costume change, they're at it again. They shock, they surprise, they delight. 30 secrets in all, some told in a few minutes, others in but seconds. What makes this so much more compelling is that all the secrets are real. I mean, they actually were told to the writers, and the writers then relayed them verbatim. That includes even the pauses. Apparently, I spoke to the producer. Abuse, sexual escapades, a lack of human connection, medical conditions and procedures, drinking, drugs, they all get a look in. So, too, depression, addiction, the long arm of the law, debt, love and loss. And in putting that list together, I barely referenced the half of it. All 5 of the actors, they include the 2 creators, Jana Pandelis, Zach Blampede and Susanna Quine, are very talented. I thought 2 stood out, at least they did for me. Nick Steen, one seriously writer's dude, Dave. His energetic characterisations I found quite electrifying and rib-tickling, and just when we think that is strictly his forte, he makes or takes a U-turn in this heart-wrenching monologue. I thought he was terrific. Nick Steen, who, as I say, is one of the writers. And Susanna Kwan has the heaviest workload. Whenever she's on stage, I found her mesmerising. Real audience connection, authenticity in her performance. I thought those 2 stood out for me. What about you?
Yeah, definitely. I thought Nick was absolutely amazing in this production, and his performance kind of sums up what this entire theatrical production is like. One moment you are laughing at a secret being told, and the next minute you're sitting there kind of mesmerized and heartbroken because of the story that's being told. I don't think I've seen a theatrical production for quite a while that takes you on such an emotional roller coaster like this does.
No, I totally agree with you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Lots crammed into the hour, isn't it? No pausing for breath, and you span the gamut of emotions. It's innovative and it's engaging. Listen, one thing that comes to my mind, because they're such dab hands at it, do you reckon they could turn their attention to lies next? Secrets lies?
That would be great, yeah.
Wouldn't it? Tiny fibs to outright deceit. I mean, just imagine the theatrical possibilities in that concept. There's no reason they couldn't. I like this when, if a writer can get into the, not just one story but several, often we've just talked about the equivalent of the tin cup, but for real, in terms of the golfing story, the movie that we spoke about earlier, in terms of the Open. But just think about it from a theatrical point of view. I reckon often fact is stranger than fiction. Because, I mean, times if you dream things up, people just dismiss it as saying, oh, it's too far-fetched. But life's often like that, isn't it, Dave?
Oh, definitely. And I hear stories all the time from people around me that will tell me something, and I think, man, if I saw that in a film, I would think there's no way that could possibly happen to someone. But then you listen to their story, and it did happen to someone.
Yeah, it's strange like that. Peter, you miss out by not doing more theatrically, my friend. There really is. Seriously, there's so much. There's that extra dimension. I love movies. I absolutely adore movies. But when you see people live in front of you in a situation like this, it's quite exciting. It gives you an extra buzz. There's hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Does that make sense?
Yes, it can, but I still have a strong preference for cinema.
But have you seen much theatre in your lifetime or not?
Oh, here and there I have, but not a great deal.
You avoid it simply because you prefer to see film? Simple as that.
Yes, and the theatrical experience sometimes can be, I don't know, a bit dry and a bit dull for me.
Wow. Quite the contrary for me, Dave. What about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. There's a lot of productions over the years where I've watched a film and then I've seen a stage show or the opposite way, and I just find the actors being there right in front of me, it has something magical about it that I love film, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that cinema can quite often capture that magic that you get of watching an actor right there in front of you in a theatre going through what they're going through at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. I had one of my good friends actually was in a movie that will hopefully see the light of day in about a year or so, and he was he wasn't a main part, but he spent 2 days filming. He was quite exhausted after it. So, I mean, I asked him about it. I asked him about the payment that he received and that the extras receive, etc. I tell you what, if you're an extra in a movie, he was saying to me that the extras in this were getting relatively slight pay, shall we say. That didn't surprise me, Dave. What about you?
No, definitely not. I did a lot of theatre work when I was at uni. In fact, I was going to say probably my biggest theatrical secret would be that I had to do a scene in my underwear at La Mama when I had my footballer's body, I should point out. But one of the most terrifying things I've ever done is go out on stage each night in my underwear to perform in front of a couple of hundred people. So, yeah.
Well, think about that if you go and see Looking for Ella Brandy, because that does require the lead actor to strip on more than one occasion into her underwear. So I was wondering, actually, when I was watching it, whether we needed to do it as often as we did. I can't remember. Do you remember in the movie whether that happened as well?
I think so. Yeah, I think it did.
I presume that it was just taken deliberately from there. Anyway, folks, we've reached the end. Thank you very much for being with us on First on Film and Entertainment. We'll do it all again next week. Catch you later, Dave. Catch you later, Peter.
All the best, everyone.
See ya.